Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Plotlines, where we are building Catholic society through culture. Uh, Please, if you want to support us at Plotlines, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Connor. And with me today is the producer of the Knights of the Cross, as well as um, a member of the Christian channel, Austin Kelly. Welcome to the show, Austin.
Thank you, Connor. Really glad to be a part of the show.
Are you, yeah, it's great having you. Are you the creator of the Christian channel?
I am the founder and creator of the Christian channel, correct?
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just learned about the Christian channel just recently. So can you just give a really quick background of where it came from, like how you founded it?
Yeah, I worked in media for about 9 years. I worked with the celebrity, and one long, hard day at work, I came back home and said, "Hey, where is there a Christian channel where I could just binge St. Paul and all the great saints?" And there wasn't. It didn't exist. And what was out there, it didn't have all the Catholic elements that I wanted. So what I
Yeah.
did is I launched the Christian channel, and I really wanted to start producing original content like our new TV series, Knights of the Cross, coming out for free in about November 18th in 2022. So we're really excited to stream that for free and get everyone excited to watch the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're very much kindred spirits. I mean, I don't have any experience necessarily in film or anything like that, but I'm very much an aspiring writer, and I want to bring in the future my Catholic faith into my storytelling. And Plotlines is called Plotlines because I really want to focus on storytelling in all sorts of ways, and that's in some ways a broad enough term that I can sort of go into whatever I want to talk about, because most things have stories, or at least most things that pretty much everything I want to talk about has a story. But anyway, so Knights of the Cross is this upcoming Crusades TV show, which it's amazing to me that that something like this really hasn't existed prior. It seems like a foregone conclusion insofar as it's, action-packed time. It has great depth to it, not just spiritually, but spiritually is an important aspect. Most of storytelling is trying to express some sort of morality, some sort of something you want to get across in themes. And the Crusades have such great themes, but in this culture where Christianity is demonized, it's very much an impossible thing to get across. But you and J. Stephen Roberts are taking this up now. How did you guys start this process of creating the show?
Yeah, so my background is in working with celebrities. So I'm really familiar with the cold calls, just like a salesman. And I say, hey, I'm Austin Kelly. I work with so and so, and I want to produce a show with you. I think we could really make it happen and make it really Catholic and really true to the faith and true to the Crusades. Because at the time, this project started around 2 years ago. And at the time in America, and still today, we have such a radical different culture than what I grew up with in the 90s. And, we had a lot of folks tearing down Junipero Serra statues, slandering Christopher Columbus. And then, I said to myself, if we're going to go in and make our first original series, we got to defend our faith. And what better way to defend our faith than the Crusades? So I am not as talented as you are, Connor. I'm not that great of a writer, but
Uh, no one can know if that's true, given no one's read my writing before publicly. So you don't say that yet.
okay. Well, it takes a certain individual to bring a story to life, and I went just like anybody else on YouTube to look for a celebrity or influencer that could really, pioneer the way forward of making a Crusader TV show via crowdfunding. And I came across Real Crusades History, who is, starring J. Stephen Roberts, the narrator of the show. over 239,000 subscribers, over 29 million views. This guy was the right guy. And I think getting to know him, just like you, Connor, he turned out to be a really devout Christian, more importantly, a really traditional Orthodox Catholic. And, at the time I came back to my faith, and that, which is, my reversion story back to the Catholic faith. And I said, this is the guy that I need to work with. And, working with him for over 2 years, he is the kindest man I've ever worked with. He's the most reasonable man, and he's the most realistic person I've ever worked with. So I love working with J. Stephen Roberts, and I could only tell you what you're going to see in the TV show is a reflection of just the chemistry that we have on set. The storytelling's so beautiful, and there's a lot of symbolism in the show. It is a 23-minute episode. There is a lot of Catholic symbolism. We filmed it in a big giant movie studio here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and our staff actually comes from other movie studios. So there's a total staff, not including the actors, of 17 people. So just like if Connor and I were to go to Warner Brothers and there's a whole production crew working around the clock, same thing over here in Salt Lake City. We were working around the clock, and that was at 7 a.m. and we didn't get home till midnight. And all the gear that you see in the show, it's a funny story. We actually went on a very popular website to, I don't want to name the website, but there's a very popular website where, you can order everything instantly. And we ordered some Crusader gear, and it was plastic. We filmed it, and it looked so terrible, Connor. It looked so bad. So we learned from our mistakes, and we ended up getting, this really heavy gear. I mean, the swords that you see on set, they're not plastic. These are the real deal, real chainmail. So we recreated, the whole scenes in a CGI studio, but the equipment that we're using is real, and it's really dangerous. So I think the cool thing about the show is you get to participate in the show with us. All you have to do to participate in the show, because we're crowdfunding this project, and unfortunately, Hollywood is not going to make an accurate story about the Crusades. They tried with other past projects, and you could watch some critiques from Real Crusades history on some movies, but it's not going to be true to the faith. And this show, Knights of the Cross, is really, there's a lot of symbolism in the show. We recreated purgatory. We actually had a Latin Mass priest come on our movie set to give us approval. Is this something that we could anticipate if we're ever so lucky to go to purgatory? Because it's really hard to get into heaven. And not a lot of people know that. I think a lot of other Christian denominations, I'm such a good Christian, I could get to heaven. It's quite a challenge when you really read into the traditionalism of it. But we had a Latin Mass priest who attended the set with us, and he whipped out his purgatory card. And it was a spooky day on set, and not to scare the audience, but purgatory is a pretty gloomy place to be. But
yeah, it's often described as painful as hell.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to share a clip. There's a clip out there on YouTube that the audience could watch right now, and the clip is King Richard. I mean, I'm sorry, the plot. I know I should be talking about the plot of the show. It's about the Third Crusade, where King Richard the Lionheart arrives to the Holy Land, and he's trying to fight back and defend the faith and protect those being sacked, those Christian victims being sacked by the Ottoman Empire. So, the script was written by J. Stephen Roberts.
You mean Saladin, right? You mean Saladin.
Correct, Connor. Yes, our main bad guy is Saladin.
Word from our affiliate, Bishop Sheen Rosaries. You've probably worn through the chain of your cheap plastic rosary. Other rosaries simply can't stand up to the wear and tear of everyday life. Bishop Sheen rosaries are made of solid metal beads and paracord to withstand any condition, and are backed with a lifetime warranty. Upgrade your rosary to a Bishop Sheen rosary made to fit your lifestyle, or buy one for a friend. Each rosary sold supplies 2 weeks of food for a school kid in Uganda. You use the exclusive link down below to help support our efforts here at Plotlines. The link will take you to sheenrosaries.com. Be sure to use the code Plotlines10.
So yeah, exactly. So what happens is they're on crusade, and this is a true story. King Richard passed out as he went on a crusade. So in this part of the story, episode 1, we've really filmed the show. I was inspired. A lot of us were inspired by Star Wars. Who doesn't love Star Wars with the hero's journey? Kind of given that Joseph Campbell plot line. So when they arrive into the Holy Land, it looks bleak, and they have to lean towards their faith. And I like to say to all our Christian audiences out there, specifically Catholic, how many of us, fall short of that, where we're like, oh, everything's hopeless. And that's what we see in the very first episode, is the hopelessness of the Crusades. You have King Richard Lionheart, who's dying in bed, and you have his sister Joanna there with him, healing him, and then you have his best friend William, who's like our Luke Skywalker character, who's really naive, wants to conquer the world, but really is bouncing up and down with his faith. So this gave us a lot of creative freedom with the special effects. We filmed this, like I said, in a big movie studio with green screen technology, and we used the same technology as Star Wars with the Unreal Engine, and recreated Purgatory. We actually recreated a very beautiful Eucharist scene, communion with God scene in the very end, that brings the symbolism of the Eucharist, which is supposed to bring us life and give us life to fight. For King Richard, it's the fight for the faith. So it's a really beautiful story. There's 3 symbolic scenes of the show. One is Genesis. In the very intro of the show, there's a symbolism of Genesis. You have the Purgatory scene, and then you have the Eucharist scene. So what I love about this show, it's true to the faith. There wasn't, the only thing they had practiced back then in Christianity was Catholicism. So the show's a really Catholic show, and a lot of the people behind the scenes, they weren't specifically Catholic, but a lot of the executive producers, including myself, are Catholic, and we really want the Catholic world to get excited about the show. And like you said earlier, Connor, this is a crowd-funded project, and so we have really amazing perks. You get, if you're listening to this and you watch the show and you feel compelled to crowdfund it with us, for $149, you get your name on the ending credits. That's a big deal. It's gonna be a lot of credits. We get fully funded, but we budgeted the show so well that it's only crowdfunding for $300,000. It's a limited series, so it's a 3-episode trilogy. And like I said, it's kind of the formula of the Joseph Campbell formula of storytelling, which is basically the hero's journey, and it has a lot of Star Wars elements. And I don't know if you want me to ramble on a little bit more, but our goal for the show for episode 2 is to bring a saint and make that saint our Yoda for the show. It's kind of equivalent to our Yoda. And that saint might be Saint Simon Stock, the founder of the Carmelite Order, who is in the same timeline as the Crusades and was in Mount Carmel during the time period of King Richard. So it gives me goosebumps, but I really want the show to get crowdfunded fully, and I hope the excitement of your audience right now, goes to our website called knightsofthecross.com.
I will have all the links in the descriptions, just so you know. All the links will be down there, so people will be able to just click the link and go there.
Oh, great. Yeah, and join us on set. We plan on filming this during the summertime because we had crowdfunded this before, and if it wasn't for the previous crowdfund, we wouldn't be here today screening episode 1. And so, for $300,000, it's about $150,000 to $40,000 per episode for a 23-minute episode. And I hope when the audience watches the show for free on YouTube, they could see the quality. And I think that's what makes us a little different from every other Christian streamer out there is, we really believe in the quality of Catholic cinema, and the Catholic world really needs good quality Catholic content. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Catholic creators. I think Catholic creators today, we're hitting a renaissance right now. 10 years ago, we couldn't crowdfund movies, but now we have the technology and we have the audience to rally behind us. So you have great channels out there like this channel and the Real Crusades History, and a lot of great Catholic creators coming out and making movies. So I'm really looking forward to not just our projects, but other Catholic content in the future.
Yeah, no, it's you can talk the talk, but you really need to walk the walk. It's important that we can complain about Hollywood movies or TV shows or anything like that, but if we're not doing something actively, especially if we have the talents or if we have the finances, we should be doing all that we can. And I was talking to Barbara Nicolosi. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her work on the Fatima movie.
Oh wow, you had Barbara.
Yeah, she was
Oh wow.
the writer of the Fatima movie, and she talked about how Catholics are almost exclusively unwilling to put money forth, especially wealthier Catholics, not necessarily the regular, middle class or that sort of thing. Catholics with some money, but the Catholics with a lot of money are not necessarily willing to put money forth always for these these storytelling projects, especially even with Fatima. It was mostly, the funding came mostly from actually atheists and some even communists from Portugal and stuff like that, because they saw a value of the story in a completely different way than the Catholics would. But then again, also part of that made Fatima not as Catholic of a movie. It became stripped down of some of its more Catholic elements because the people funding it were not necessarily into into Catholic faith. So it's important that my audience and every Catholic audience, especially since this is a crowdfunding campaign, you can donate, as even $1 to support this. And how many? So like, how many people would it take? I think it's 300,000, right? 300,000 people to donate $1, right, each, and you'd have all the money you needed, right?
Exactly. It's even simpler than that. We just need 2,000 people to donate $250, and we're in. We are in, and we're making a really awesome Catholic Crusader, TV series. And Barbara really, she's right. A lot of these Hollywood productions are financed by, some of them are atheists, and they say, the truth is, the guy financing, the movie has a big say in the project. If he says, hey, cut this purgatory scene out, or hey, what's this Eucharist scene? I don't want any of that.
Exactly.
There is a benefit of doing what we're doing today. And I don't think I'm the only one that sees that, Connor. I think there's a lot of Catholic creators out there that say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this really devout Catholic documentary, or I'm going to make this really devout Catholic project. The great thing about our team is, what you said earlier, judges by, judges by the, what's the proof in the pudding. I think
the fruits.
The fruits, yeah, judges by your fruits. Because if you see our content and you think it's great, if you don't think it's great, give it a thumbs down. I don't care. But I think what I want to build excitement in specifically our Catholic faith. And I was supposed to spoil it in November 18th, but we have a glimpse of the Virgin Mary, and they're in the movie. I'm sorry, in the TV show that we're producing. And we want the Catholic world to know that we want to continue to make Catholic content. After the Knights of the Cross, I think you're going to see a lot more projects coming out from the ChristianChannel.com, our little tiny streaming service. And, that we want to pioneer the way. and if we could collaborate with great writers like yourself and make really affordable, projects, that's one thing that we're pretty realistic here at the studio is we really evaluate our production budgets, and we want to make sure that our deliverables are met on time. And we also understand that if you're a contributing crowdfunder, right, and you pledge $1,000, we want to make sure that we're communicating with you and you come to the movie set and you have a good time. And if you're a Catholic man out there, because most of our early crowdfunders, we raised near $50,000 for the pilot. And that really wasn't enough. We had to reach out to private funders to, hey, can you help us out? And, by the grace of God, they were able to help us out and help us finance the show. These episodes cost, $150,000 an episode. So when I say the quality's, great, I really believe in it. So I think Barbara's right. Unfortunately, with some productions, specifically Catholic productions, you run into two issues in production. One, you don't have the budget, so that's where you get that cheesy kind of comedy rom-com that costs 20, 30,000 to make. But if you want to, get the big budgets, like I can't speak for Fatima, but according to Barbara, those come from private funders in most projects, and they don't really want a Catholic messaging coming across. So the beautiful thing is we're people like Connor and myself, we get together, we do these podcasts, and we just really need your help. This is a grassroots project, and we really need your help to support more Catholic creators. And I hope, if the Crusades, inspires you to help fight for your faith in Christian media, I'd like to touch on one last point, which the audience probably doesn't understand, or will learn right now. When you produce a project and you license that project, let's say we're funded for Knights of the Cross and Netflix wants to stream it. A streamer, not specifically Netflix. How many people go to Netflix on a daily basis?
Thousands, millions.
Thousands, millions, probably millions. And what was the #1 movie just a few weeks ago?
I'm not sure. What is it?
Was Father Stu.
Oh, okay.
So Father Stu with Mark Wahlberg. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Catholic movies have a great way to evangelize people. Specifically, the Father Stu story of a aspiring actor, atheist who went through a hard time and wanted to devote his life to the Catholic faith and become a priest. I think such a beautiful story. And the great thing about Knights of the Cross and crowdfunding Knights of the Cross is that we give this product, this TV show, and we give it to Netflix. We license it to Netflix, and they can't edit all the Catholic scenes out. They might come back with a counter offer, say, hey, can you remove the purgatory scene? But we might say no. The whole thing, the rule is, if you're going to stream Knights of the Cross, you're going to have to stream the whole thing. And I think what's beautiful about our Catholic faith is obviously the Eucharist. And having the Eucharist in the show is a very important theme of the show, is our faith and the real presence of God in the Eucharist. And there's a lot of stories. I don't know if you want me to talk for hours, but what happened behind the scenes of our movie set. But a lot of non-Catholics, when we shared with them the story, not the story, the real presence of God, their mind was blown, to be quite honest with you. They're like, that makes a lot of sense, because where did Jesus go after he died and went to hell? And then he came back and he went, he ascended into heaven. Where did he go? He's at your local Catholic church, in adoration,
Indeed.
in the tabernacle. He's home. He's home. He's waiting for you. So I think when we, like I said before, projects like this don't get funded by Hollywood. So we really need to rally up, honestly, 2,000 Catholics to contribute $250, with our, this is an ongoing campaign. We have our own crowdfunding platform. This isn't, when we crowdfund the 300,000, it's not like the bank is going to hold the 300,000 as hostage. It's coming to the studio, and we get to make the project. I don't want to say negative things about other crowdfunding platforms, but I'm sure your audience is aware that there are some platforms who are anti-Catholic and do
Yeah.
not and will boot us out.
There are risks that way.
Yes, there are big risks, and the only way we can do this is follow a model that other crowdfund studios have done, and when I'm like The Chosen, and crowdfunded themselves. And so, as Catholics getting together and making Catholic productions, we really need to rally behind each other. And you're right, not necessarily we can't lean on the Catholic billionaire to help finance these projects. We really need the Catholic layman, that sits in the pew and says, "Hey, I donated or I contributed $200 to the show. My name's on the ending credits, and I get a 1-year streaming pass to the Christian channel for my family." I think it's a great deal.
No, it's great. Also, just think about it this way: the everyday Catholic, the average Catholic, watches some sort of TV show or entertainment. We need entertainment because we need to bring some joy into and excitement into the dreary world that we live in. Now let's bring in something truly Catholic and truly worth watching. And this is really where, you can see the trailer and you can see clips, which I will put in the description, of course, that the audience can go watch and see that this is a real thing. This is coming, and you'll be able to watch it. I mean, November 8th, 18th, you're going to be able to watch it for free, but let's show some appreciation for it, especially if you watch that episode. I mean, I think everyone should donate even prior to seeing the first episode. But if you watch that first episode and you enjoy it, you should be putting your money where your mouth is. You should be helping the Christian channel. And can come a point where the Christian channel is is not just making this show, but making a bunch of other shows. And Austin, this is the Knights of the Cross. It seems to be, to me, an anthology series. Is that correct? It seems like it's going to go through Richard in the first season and then move on to other stories in the Crusade. Is that how it's sort of set up to be?
Yes. And Real Crusades History YouTube channel, Richard is the most popular guy out on there. And, we want to continue the series. Like I said, episode 2, we want to bring on Saint Simon Stock, who is, the founder of the Carmelite order. Who was this Saint Simon Stock? What's the backstory behind him? Think of this as our first, I love Marvel movies. Think of this as our X-Men, Knights of the Cross as our X-Men series, right? The next season 2, it's on the website, but if we crowdfund more than $1 million, oh, by the graces of God, that could happen, right? Over $1 million. We want to, there's 2 other crusaders that I think are super powerful in the Catholic faith. One is the First Crusade with Saint Fernando III in Spain. Not many people know this story. We started this project before the pandemic. So we actually were going to fly to Spain, and we had these castles and we had these reenactors because we could. It was going to be fun, man. Connor, it was going to be so much fun. We reached out to a Catholic producer a Spanish producer out there, and he really did the hard work. And this is, like I said, before the pandemic, and it just didn't work out. So after we're coming back from this issue, we want to go out to Spain, and we want to onboard a very famous celebrity to play Saint Fernando III, and make another 3-episode trilogy. And the same thing with crowdfunding. I think we might cap Knights of the Cross, depends on how much we raise. Remember, this is something we talk about in the studio. Okay, so we really think the last Crusader of our anthology that you had said earlier is probably going to be spoilers out there for everybody, but will probably be Saint Louis and the Last Crusade.
Guess.
Yeah, and you know what? These shows, these are crowdfunded shows. So if the first episode we raised more than $2 million, I'm going to say it here on this podcast. Okay. We are officially doing all three. You're going to continue the series as much as we can. And, there's great Christian content out there. I know a few productions, The Secret's not out, but I know The Chosen they've already said, hey, we're going to do X amount of seasons. Thank you so much. They raised $10 million. So it's the number one crowdfunded, TV series of all time. So in Hollywood standards, $10 million is not a lot of money. But in the Christian space, in the Christian cinema world, that's a lot of money that you could stretch a dollar and really evangelize. And I'm really I'm impressed with their production. I'm impressed with everybody. And our director for Knights of the Cross came from that studio. Aaron is our director, and he's the guy that directed all of the Dry Bar Comedy episodes, TV series. So we use the same guys as them, but I think this show is they're much more passionate about the action-packed cinema quality of a TV series, and I am too. I think I love comedy. I love Christian comedy, but I think what's more impactful in our world today is going to be storytelling, and that's what we're up to here. Dramas, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's make a goal that let's try and get Knights of the Cross to surpass The Chosen. That would be I think it can be done. I think it should be done. I think this show will probably be better than The Chosen.
Don't. That's when you start beef. That's when you start beef rivalry.
Well,
Christian
but it's
channel versus The Chosen.
Well, I don't have as good of a positive view on The Chosen, actually. So
okay,
to be honest, so I would say that this will probably be a better production insofar as probably just a much more Catholic one, to say the least. As well as just I'm not a huge fan of the accents of The Chosen. I've watched a few episodes, but so I'm excited for what I've seen so far from the Knights of the Cross. It seems more like when you make sort of these sort of fictional accents for a time period that you don't really have that. I think like the if you look at what is it, the Passion doesn't really the Passion, because it's in the languages that were spoken at the time, it doesn't come across in as much of a cheesy manner. I mean, it doesn't come off in cheesy manner at all, but having that sort of situation, if the Chosen had done that with the languages, I think it would come off better. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, and you have a great eye for cinema, because we screened Knights of the Cross. We had a teaser trailer and we screened it to a private audience, and that was the biggest I wouldn't say complaint, but feedback we got were the accents. So our actors, we actually had to recast majority of the actors on our show, Knights of the Cross, not because they were better. It was more of a timing issue. But our requirement for recasting was basically what you had just said, which was the accent. Could we find great, talented actors to pull off an English accent in Utah? So
there's so many British people in Utah, aren't there? Right?
Oh yeah, so many. No, but our new King Richard is played by John. And John, he's an up and coming actor. He just did a movie with Robert De Niro a few weeks ago that I shouldn't be talking about, but he just did the movie with him, and he's an up and coming great actor. And we really want actors to play the leads, really talented, credible actors to play the leads of our show, because I think, like you said, Connor, we need to step up in the Catholic world and Catholic cinema, and we really need to produce high quality content so we could evangelize really to the Catholic world. But yes, to answer your question, they all have English accents on it's a form of English accent on the show. and it doesn't come across as like an English a guy from Boston, hey, I got to save the princess, type of East Coast. It's really talented actors here, and you would be surprised. There's a huge I think Salt Lake City and Utah in general, it's becoming this with shows like The Chosen, which are down in Provo. We're in the city, we're in downtown Salt Lake. I think this is becoming the new Hollywood 2.0. And I think what's happening with guys like other Catholic creators out there, like Mark Wahlberg, moving to Las Vegas, which is only a 4 or 5 hour drive. If I drive, it's 4 to 5 hours, but average person would be 6. It's we're very close to each other, and I think you're this is technically the Wild West. We have sand dunes. We have that we want to film in. We got we're getting permits to film in for episode 2 for Knights of the Cross. So there's a whole. It depends on the budget. I mean, it goes. That's kind of our job. It's like if we have $300,000, we could squeeze it in the budget to film in the sand dunes. But we have the infrastructure to build really amazing TV shows with our movie studios here. We have great movie studios in Salt Lake City, as big as Warner Brothers. And, Salt Lake, oh, by the way, we're having a theatrical release November 18th. You could stream that live on our YouTube channel, on the Christian Channel YouTube channel. Hopefully it's in the link below. And you get to, and that's where they host the Sundance Film Festival. So we're really excited to showcase, the cast members and the theatrical release here in Park City, Utah. And we really just want to bring, we want to invite everybody to come in and to see the cast and crew and to see the interview. So this is how we could make new Christian cinema, is everybody listening to this, all the audience members, to get excited and to, for the cost of, for a very low cost, for $200, you get to participate in the show. You get your name on the ending credits. I think this should be the future of not just Hollywood 2.0, but for Christian cinema in general. Because like Barbara said, I don't know Barbara very well, but I'm a big fan of her projects. I think Fatima was a great movie. We need more projects like that, and there's a hunger for it. I think if there wasn't a hunger for it, I went to Mass yesterday, and after Mass, I met some young Catholics, and they came to the faith because of what's going on in today's world. Because they're disappointed. I mean, exactly how I felt when I started the Christian Channel. I grew up in Los Angeles. I lived next to the San Gabriel Mission, and the last straw for me was the burning of some guy just burned a 250-year-old mission. I mean, Molotov cocktail. I mean, these are the times we're living in, and so and I don't blame. I mean, he's mad at the Catholic Church because of the lies of the Catholic Church, because Junipero Serra is such an evil man. Saint Damian Molokai, what a horrible person, because how dare he go to Molokai to feed the leopard. Can you believe these lies that we live in today? This is I could go on for hours. I mean, this could be a Joe Rogan podcast, and we could talk about that. But we're contributing. You're contributing to a big project, a fight for the faith. That's what you're really doing. You're fighting for the truth. And I know it's hard because you haven't seen the show yet, but why don't you do this? Click subscribe to this channel, click subscribe to the Christian Channel, and watch it for free. If you want to watch it on your smart TV, because that's what we have, the Christian Channel, the streaming network. You can watch it on your smart TV and in your TV screen instead of your phone, and watch it for free. You don't even have to subscribe. You just click, watch it for free. So I think we really need everyone's help, and I think a modest budget of $300,000, what we're capable of doing is we're not asking for $1 million. I mean, that would be great, but $300,000 in Hollywood is nothing. It's literally one episode of Lord of the Rings. It's such a minimum budget.
But the episode of Lord of the Rings is pretty bad, so
Yeah.
It's not. It's money doesn't buy everything. Money really doesn't get you everything. You can have a $1 billion budget and still make really bad cinema.
Connor, you sound like an expert. You sound like a producer on a show. Yeah, but because you're honest, and a lot of people, we need more creators like you telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Now, so what was I think? So tell us a little bit more about the Christian channel and how a subscription to the Christian channel, how does that affect the working of or the creation of the Knights of the Cross, or what kind of content do you get, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so the Christian channel is going through a little bit of a refresh right now. We have a list of like 20 to 30 saint movies you could pick from. So we have saints and heroes. You know, we say Christian heroes, people who aren't technically saints, or they might be a blessed, or they might be a venerable, but we believe them to be a hero. So like we have a movie called The Divine Plan about St. John Paul II and Ronald Reagan. We have a cinematic movie called, I mean, these aren't owned by us. We license the content from other production companies. So think of it, to sum it up, think of it like Christian Netflix. That's the best way I could say it. The more subscribers we have, a portion of those funds, actually, to tell you the truth, that's how we, the portion of those funds helped produce Knights of the Cross. Remember I said, oh, we raised nearly $50,000. Where did the private funds come from? They came from subscribers. If it wasn't for the subscribers helping us out, this show would not be made. I mean, by the grace of God, we got episode 1 going. But the movie studio industry, you're going to see a lot of streamers, a lot of them. We have to be very prudent in our spending and in the behind the scenes of shows like this. We really believe in Knights of the Cross, and that's where we believe this show to be the flagship show of our network is Knights of the Cross. And there's other projects in the works. I just can't talk about it. I mean, there's the movie posters right there, but you can't see the title. But there is we just flew back from a meeting, from a few meetings. So there will probably be I shouldn't commit to it. There will probably be a pro-life movie from us in the near future, about what's happening after Roe, after the Dobbs case. So I talked to a couple big time distributors, and they said, just make it and we'll stream it. So this is I'm sorry I'm changing subjects, but just to give you an idea of the Christian channel.
I asked about the Christian channel, so it's not really changing subjects.
Okay, well, we're pro-life, and we're a pro-life company, and we really think if it wasn't for the chaos of the world today, I don't think we would exist. I think what's going on with after Dobbs, what's a big issue is the abortion pill, and what's happening to young ladies with taking the abortion pill, because some of these ladies are as young as 10 years old, 10 to 14 years old, and they're taking these injections from abortion clinics, and not only are their babies are dying, but they are dying. They're unfortunately passing away as well, and there's a lot of funerals. So because of the Dobbs case and what happens with what's happening with abortion, it's becoming mail order abortion, and you're going to see a lot of you're starting to see the repercussions of that. And I don't support abortion. I'm a pro-life guy, but I think it's this movie that we're working on, the pink one right there, is it's more of a PSA and telling young ladies there's other options, and there's the support. There's a support of mothers out there and adoption agencies that would be more than happy to welcome them in their family and to help their young baby. Because I think the reason why, and I'm sorry I'm going off tangent here, but the Christian channel, we want to produce movies that matter. We want to produce TV shows that matter, and it's a little close to home to me because there's some personal events that I went through, and and we really have to continue to fight. And the only way we can fight is to get the audience to rally behind us. And it's great to be on a podcast like this with you, Connor, and to really get to the grassroots of it all. So, we're in election season, so please vote responsibly and pick a really strong person to fight for the pro-life cause, because we need it. So, and just a little bit behind the story behind me. I went to Penn State. So when I went to Penn State, I was a big football guy, and I had the best football coach of all time, Joe Paterno. So devout Catholic guy, always prayed, the Lord's Prayer before every game. So that's where I come from. It's kind of my East Coast roots, coming on to the Catholic world. So my story is, I left the celebrity Hollywood world, and I said, God, how can I use my talents to serve you? And here we are 2 years later on Connor's podcast.
Well, God bless you and God bless your work. It's a real pleasure talking to you about this about the Knights of the Cross and all the work at the Christian Channel. It's just very exciting. I think we live in very exciting times in that way. We know what we need to fight for, and a perfect sort of metaphor for it would be the knights. They are wearing the cross on their uniforms, on their arm, above their armor, and that's not just that's them showing that they are carrying their own crosses along with Christ, and they are fighting the good fight in that manner. And that's one of the things that's going to be able to be shown in the Knights of the Cross and all your work. But this is just it's symbolic. Seeing, I have actually the same image or a similar image of the knights kneeling with before mass that you have behind you but anyway, so it's just really a beautiful work that you're coming out with, and everyone needs to support you and your work. It reminds me, there's you have a similar counterpart for the crowdfunding, with the Mass of the Ages as well for the liturgy. So it all this stuff is going on at the same time. It's just by God's providence that this is all going to work out.
Yeah, and that, like I said before, we need more creators. Cameron O'Hearn is a fantastic director, and I'm really excited to see Mass of the Ages episode 3. He's an inspiration. He's a Catholic that's going out there and doing it, and we need more Catholics like him to step up and just do it. Just the famous words of Shia LaBeouf and a green screen with do it. So we need more of us. That's all I'm saying. But in this, I really just want Connor, I really just want the world to watch episode 1 for free. And if they feel inspired and the Holy Spirit touches them and say, you know what, here's $200, or here's, give, as much as you can. There are 7 individuals that had pledged over $1,000. They actually joined us. They joined us on the movie set. They dressed up in Crusader gear. They were in green screen. They were rawing, and it was such a fun experience. And I like to remind people, when you're in a movie studio, it's really fun because it's like a retreat. If you're a man out there, it's like, or if you want to give your husband a kind of a $1,000 retreat. I know Christmas is coming up. It's really fun because you get to hang out with myself. You get to hang out with the directors and the DP. They're working really hard, but behind the scenes, sitting in a movie studio chair like that, you're literally drinking. You're having great lunches. So it's a fun experience. And I think we have a testimonial video coming out soon of these guys giving a testimonial, and they love it. These are really strong Orthodox guys that, they're not specifically Catholic, but they come from the Orthodox faith, and they see the value of the show. and they really want to fight for the faith. So you're going to meet a lot of interesting people on the movie set, and we were very, and I love to touch on a little bit about the story of the show. We were very cautious of the show because we are dealing with a holy war with Muslims, and we were very, very, very tight and historically accurate on both sides of the story. And there have been a few instances on set where we couldn't, where we were very specific on the Muslim side of the show, that we weren't disrespectful. So I think on both sides of the story, it's very accurate. We have a great writer that fought for the historical accuracy of the show. Now, the purgatory scene and Eucharist scene, they're not historic. There was more of a hallucination of the show, kind of a dreamscape of the show. But historically accurate, that's what we're trying to aim for, and not to upset or step on anybody's toes. We don't want to do that. But also we can't be honest. I mean, we can't lie, but we have to be honest about what really did happen during the Crusades. Why did the Crusaders go out there? Why did they defend their faith? Were there bad Crusaders and good Crusaders? So in episode 2, when we crowdfund episode 2, our goal is to tell a story about Saint Simon Stock, and the story of a Crusader who wants a blessing. Bless me, because saints, he wasn't a saint yet, but bless me, Simon of the Stock, that I may go on crusade and kill as many Turks as possible. And the story goes, Saint Simon Stock is like, I will not bless you. This is ridiculous. And then the other Crusaders say, bless me and defend my family. More of the offense versus the defense. Mm-hmm. And we want to talk about that, because that's the biggest misconception about the Crusades. Yes, people are people. People will be motivated by money and riches and fame and power, and some people just are motivated by defending the faith. So I love to share both sides of the story, and I'm excited to share the show. To be quite honest with you, I think when the audience is excited about it, I'm excited about it, and like I said, the audience is the contributing factor of financing the show, and we budgeted the show so well that $300,000 will get us our full season, and that's what I'm excited to produce.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Is there anything else you want to plug before we go?
Just you could go to christianchannel.com if you want to watch the show for free on your TV. You could stream it on your Chromecast. We're also available on Roku. So if you go on your Roku channel, you could type in Christian Channel. We pop up. We're right there, and you could watch Knights of the Cross, the TV show episode 1, for free. Or you could go on YouTube and type in Knights of the Cross, and episode 1 will be for free. We are streaming a live broadcast at a theatrical event with the actors and staff and over 100 guests. And that will be streamed live on YouTube at Christian Channel. You could just type in Knights of the Cross, and I'm sure we'll pop up. So that's November 18th. That's our release date of episode 1, is November 18th. We really hope everyone enjoys the show. And if you want, you could support us by going to Christian Channel, our YouTube channel, and Real Crusades History. Press subscribe. If you are listening to this and you're listening to this podcast, press subscribe to this podcast, because Connor's doing a really good job, and he's bringing on really credible people. So continue to subscribe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, so if you want to support us, please also like and comment, and as well as join our Discord to continue the conversation outside the podcast in a more community setting. And also upcoming on Plotlines next Tuesday, we're going to be doing a live stream. It's either going to start around either 6 or 7 p.m. Central Time, and it'll probably go to like 11. It will be basically a Catholic election night. We're going to have a bunch of different Catholic guests on, and then so you never know who's going to show up. It's going to be wild. But anyway, so yeah, please support the Knights of the Cross and the Christian channel, as well as Wheel Crusades history. All great people working involved in this production, and we want it to succeed here at Plotlines. So help them, and help. And if you like our channel, please, or like Plotlines, please subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone. Anything to say before we go?
God bless, and please pray for us. We need it.
Thank you. Yep. Okay. Bye, everyone.